Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kyle Sorkness and I'm running for Student Body President. If you don't recognize me, it's probably because for the past year I've been participating in an urban ministries program that takes me off campus about half-time. So I've been off campus a little bit more this year than usual. But I have been a student at Concordia for the past 3 years. And during that time I've been involved with Student Senate and clubs and orgs and just about everything else. On Senate, my first year, I had the privileged opportunity to represent the distinguished Walliger Hall. I also represented the guys who lived there. And the next 2 years then I've served on the executive board as a vice president of Senate Relations. So what that means for me in a nutshell is that I've had a lot of experience with how Senate works. I won't need to take a lot of time to figure out how all the systems work, how to network with administrators and those kinds of things. So basically my first day as president I could hit the ground running. There are a lot of things that I'd like to share with you. What I'm basically going to do is just recap the speech that I gave during the exec board nominee speech night. And so during that speech I covered 3 main points, the 3 things that I would focus on as president. The first thing I want to talk about is that unfortunately, as a lot of you probably know, there are a lot of people on campus who either don't know about Student Senate or frankly they just don't care about what Student Senate does. And I think that's unfortunate. If students do know anything about what Student Senate does, they might know that occasionally we buy something physical to improve the campus. So whether that's the hydration station or something for the game room, that might be all they know about Student Senate. And while I think that's important that we continue to manage the student body funds and improve campus when and where we can, I think that the single most important thing that we can do as a Student Senate is to be an advocate for students in matters of policy and in major university decisions. Now, what does that mean? We talk a lot about being a voice for students, and that's something that sounds good and something that people say during campaign speeches to get elected. But what does that really mean? I'll give you one example. For the past 2 years, I've been a member of something called the Student Policies Committee. I think that you would be amazed and maybe even appalled to find out about some of the major decisions that are made about your life as a student for which your input isn't asked at all. On this single committee alone, in the past year alone, we've talked about which scholarships you're eligible for as a student, whether you're eligible for work study or not. Right now we're talking about the appeals process for student conduct violations. So these are major policies that affect your everyday life. And this is just one committee. And there are a lot of committees and groups around campus and administration that are making policies that we currently have no say in. And so as president, my goal would be to be an advocate for students as much as possible. If this means getting student representatives on more committees, that would be great. But really just being a voice for the students and making sure that when the administration is considering a new policy, I think the first thing they should ask themselves is what do the students think, and that they should think to go to the Student Senate to get the student stance on the policy. The second major thing that I would focus on as president, I'm not going to spend as much time on right now, but it's restructuring. It's hard to do this kind of advocacy work effectively when some of our structure is actually bogging us down and holding us back. For the past 3 years, so since I got to Concordia, I've been a part of a group that's been completely rewriting our Student Senate Constitution and bylaws. And so as president, I'd like to see that through to the end, and one of my goals would be that we launch the new Constitution and bylaws next year. And these are just going to, I think, make us a lot more efficient as a Senate and just update a lot of these documents that haven't kept up over time. The third main thing that I would focus on as president is connections. I think this goes 2 ways. Again, it's hard to be an advocate for students when number 1, students don't know what's happening on campus, and number 2, Student Senate isn't really as connected with our constituent students as we should be. So to the first piece, I'm going to say I've been a part of a group for the past 2 years that's been creating a comprehensive new communication system. And this new system is going to reach out to the student body to let them know about upcoming events and other news around campus that affects them. This is going to have an online presence, it's going to go through email, there'll be print. It's going to be a comprehensive new system that we've been working on for a while. So that's the first piece, and as president, I'd like to see that through also to completion. We are planning on launching at the end of this year, but next year will be its first full year of operation, and so I think that I could manage that well from the president position. The second piece, hearing more from students. I've been working on some plans lately for what I've just been calling student forums, and I'd be happy to hear any of your input on this. But I think what we need to do is open it up to the student body and just get a bunch of students who do care together in a room to talk about the current issues on campus and the things that they'd like to work on. And then the students, together with their student representatives on Student Senate, can work together to brainstorm solutions to problems and student stances that they'd like to see the Senate take on policies. So those are the two ways that I'd like to address connection. I'd like to close with just a quick note on change that I think is happening at our university. And I don't think we're alone. I think it's been happening at a lot of universities. I think that in the beginning when we were smaller, I think it was a closer, more tightly knit community of students and faculty, a learning community where I think the Student Senate and the Faculty Senate played and still do play a large role in determining what happens at the university, what kind of community that is. Over time, I think that the administration has taken a bigger and bigger role in making those kinds of decisions. And I think that one unfortunate consequence of this is that it's turned us as students into more and more of consumers in an institution that's run more and more like a business. I think that's unfortunate, and I think that it's Student Senate's place to let the administration know that students do want to have a voice in what happens, and that we don't just want to be consumers, that we want to be active participants in making decisions about what happens here on our campus at our university. And so, in general, that's kind of my driving motivation to be a part of Senate and to run for president. I think that it's important that students have a say in what happens here at our Concordia. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or drop a line here on the Facebook event page for voting. Otherwise, thanks for watching the video, and please consider voting for me for student body president. Thanks.